Hello, Wade Penley again here, back with the second installment of the Scrap Woodworker. In the first series of videos I introduced you to my shop, and in this series of videos I want to show you how to build a dresser. I had already previously started on it, but I'm going to show you from where I left off, from where I started to the finish. Right now this is one of the side panels of the dresser. It's made out of 2x6s, but they're not whole 2x6s. You can see they're really thin, and I've only got actually 2 2x6s in this panel, even though there's 4 sections of it. But I want to show you as we go along how to rip wood and how to sand it and take care of it. But today we're going to work on building the rails and the stiles for the front of the dresser where the drawers are. And we're going to be doing that actually out of just 2x4s. I had already started on some to show them to you. This is what it looks like in the rough. This is one of the rails that I made. And I'm going to show you how to make that out of a 2x4. And here's one of the rough cuts. As you can see, that's part of the 2x4 and it's rough on the inside. I'll show you how to plane that down and smooth it up. And well, let's get started. Now I'm going to try to show you how to rip these 2x4s. I don't have a tripod right now, so I'm going to try to figure out how to set this camera so you can see what I'm doing. But each 2x4 is 1.5 inches thick, which divided would make it 3/4 of an inch. So what I've done was I took my speed square, or my tri-square, I'm sorry, and I set it for 3/4 of an inch. And so that way when I get ready to draw my lines and mark it, I can mark it right in the dead center of the thickness of this 2x4. Now, and then we take our 3-foot, our 36-inch yardstick, and use it as a straight edge and pretty much connect the dots. Let me see if I can set this down and show you how to make this work. I don't know how good it'll do, but I'm going to try. What we do first is we take and set up our tri-square, since we already know where the center is, and we just mark it. And after it's marked, this is a long one, so you might want to mark it in 2 or 3 different places. After it's marked, you're going to take that straight edge and draw out the line for it. So that way you know exactly where to cut at when you cut. And you're going to want to do this on both sides, because you're going to be using 2 different saws in this to split this with. So first you draw your line. Try not to let your straight edge move like I just did. First you draw your line, which breaks the center of the 2x4, and there, I don't know how well you can see it, but there is the line to break the board with. And then all you got to do then is just rip it out. Now what I'm going to do after I've got the lines drawn in the piece, marking both edges, I'm going to take my skill saw and I'm going to rip down one edge, and then I'm going to take my sawzall over there and I'm going to rip down the other edge, and split this 2x4 in the middle. And I'm going to try to find a place to set this camera so I can show you how to do this and move on to the next step. So bear with me just for a second. So what I'll do, what you got to do is you got to make sure that the skill saw, when you're using the skill saw, that it stays level. So the best thing to do would be to pull slow while you're making this cut, so that way you're not taking a chance on turning the saw sideways and pinching the blade and causing a kickback or even messing up your workpiece. Now what I normally do is I normally clamp it down, but today I think I'm going to try it without clamps and see if I can do that. So let's see what good we can do here. Now that you've made your cut with the skill saw, as you can see I got it a little bit crooked there, but that's okay. We're going to take the sawzall and cut the other edge here. But I'm going to have to use clamps for this one. So I'll use 2 clamps to hold this thing into position. And how I'll do that is I'll use one clamp, I'll use both clamps to keep it tight. I can't show you right now how to do that, but I'll go ahead and get this thing clamped in. Go ahead and get the sawzall plugged up, and we'll go from there. Now you only want to do a short bit at a time in cutting this stuff, because your sawzall is going to make a lot of vibration, and it'll knock your wood piece out of the clamps and everything else. So I'm just going to do about 1.5 foot at a time, and until we get all the way through this board. So if you'll bear with me just a minute, we'll go ahead and get this thing split open, hopefully before my batteries on my camera die. So I'm gonna excuse me, I'm gonna use my sawzall, get it plugged up, and I'm going to follow that line down as far as I can, and then I'm going to readjust the board, because this is a method I found to be the easiest way to do it. If I can get my hand out of the way, I'll show you. When you're going down through there, you're trying to follow the line as best as you can, and the saw is going to be a little bit slow, but it'll follow through with that groove, and just cut slow through it. Cut the 2x4 in half down the thickness. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to plane the edges. Well, to make it quicker, I just put them back to back, so I can just take off the edges of both boards at the same time with my 3 1/4 inch hand planer. What I'm going to do, 2x4s come standard as 3 1/2 inches wide, just the same as they're 1 1/2 inch wide. They're not true 2x4s. So what you do, I don't know how well you can see this, is put a line marking 1/4 down, take off that first 1/4, that way you got a good flush edge, flip them over, draw another 1/4, take another 1/4 inch off the other side, just like you do on the top side. That way you got them perfectly square to each other. And then we'll work on taking the rough off of it when we get done with the edge. Now I'm going to see if I can do this with one hand and hold the phone. My camera died, so now I'm having to use my phone. Set it to the cut depth that you want, and just go at it. Now what this will do is it'll just keep taking it down and flushing it up. And we got a few passes to make, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, go ahead and make my passes, and then I'll come back and show you how we do the other side.